Hello, everyone. This is Jimmy Cultist, back again with another Megalon sculpting video thing? Tour? I don't know what to call it. Hopefully today we're going to finish this fellow up, once and for all. Finally get him out of the way. We better get started, that's all I know. Megalon. Let's go ahead and turn off the floor. Actually don't think I'll add a whole ton to the legs. They kind of look great as is. Now this could use some improvement, certainly. I'm not sure anybody's really going to see this part, but just in case, we're going to kind of like give it some definition. It's going to be really cool when all of the monsters are playable. I heard about this game recently, this Kaiju Universe. Someone mentioned it on Dreams, and then I kind of looked into it. It's basically someone was trying to make something kind of similar to me. I mean, they were trying to make, like, a Godzilla game where all the monsters were playable. Of course, they got a, it was on Roblox, I think. They got a cease and desist from Toho. And I guess this person was concerned that we might get a cease and desist. However, I do think we have something going for us, and that's the fact that Roblox gets a little bit more attention than Dreams. And it's really when things get famous that people start taking them down, shall we say. Yeah, I kind of like that. We're going to add some little extra details here and there. Paint-wise. Oh, another thing, I don't think this is a huge difference when you're like a big company or whatever. I don't think it actually changes copyright law whether you're making money off something or not, but I'm not making any money off of, you know, the games that I create in Dreams, so that might change things a little bit. See, this game, they were actually making money off of it. Because Roblox, you know, it allows its creators to make money, I guess. Yeah, we're just gonna have to add some little ridges here. It's very annoying having to add them to an object like this, but I think it's worth it. It's actually kind of odd, considering the amount of Godzilla media that's coming out these days, that there isn't a new Godzilla video game. I feel like there's a gap in the market that needs to be filled. They need to release an officially licensed game at some point. Preferably one made by me, but that would be a lot to ask for, wouldn't it? Seems like what usually messes Godzilla games up is they get drowned in this big amount of, what do you call it? A lake of licensing issues that tends to be the problem with a lot of them. They're so busy trying to procure the license to all this different, you know, stuff, and I guess Toho is really touchy about the final product. Ideally, though, you would want someone who actually cares about the property making the game. I suppose the Pipeworks trilogy kind of comes to mind. The Pipeworks Godzilla games. I used to think, maybe they didn't like Godzilla too much because of how some of the games turned out. But then I found out that most of that was actually because of meddling on the part of, corporate folks. It seemed like the actual developers were really into it. Corporate people are very ironic. It's like that which would make them the most money is the thing they least want to do. It's taking risks, usually. Corporate people are risk adverse, even though money making is a risky business. Most people who are absurdly wealthy in the world will tell you that basically you don't make money unless you take risks. And there's going to be mistakes, but that kind of comes with everything. I feel like a lot of corporate people, they're not really suited for the job that they're in. They're too, worrywart. I don't know what to call it. Kind of what I see almost everywhere, actually. Most people aren't suited for any of the jobs that they occupy. It's like everybody's like a businessman or an artist or something, and it's like you really should have been a plumber. Your mindset is very plumbery. Might be because everybody wants the same thing. It's kind of like... It's like, oh, well, I won't, be a big superstar with lots of money unless I get into business and finance. Odds are you probably won't be a big superstar with money and finance because you want it. If you're too rigid, you'll never get anywhere. You'll only be a mediocre businessman at best. If you're always grasping at, you know, like, oh, we can't take a risk. And they'd be like, well, what do you know about business, Jimmy? Oh, nothing in particular. Well, we kind of leveled up his texture here. You know, something I might do if I was really, if I had a big budget, you know, and I wasn't limited, I would probably have more effects and stuff for the monsters. Like, I think it'd be kind of neat if there was a game, a Godzilla game, where you could actually wound your opponent, you know, and like rip off the tail or something. I don't know. That is something that happens in Godzilla films. Or just, you know, have them battle damaged a little bit, like they're showing the signs, you know, of depreciation. Gonna have to add a little bit of extra something to the face. The mandibles are kind of hovering out in the middle of it. But we'll get to that in a minute. Actually, if we want to save thermo, something we could do. A simple fix to a simple problem. We'll just copy out... We'll just copy out these. And voila, there we go. No problems whatsoever. That could use some adjusting, I think. Yes, it might be highly advantageous to trim this down just a little bit. And of course, we're going to have to kind of add some detail here, since we kind of chopped it off. Yeah, that's better. I think that's a more natural bend. Any other problems? Yeah, seems like we're good. Oh, wait a minute. The tail. Let's get back to that. That was something we were working on last time. Speaking of which, turn down the luminoise. All right. Take it back down. This part isn't hyper important since you're probably not going to see it, but gotta cover our bases. There we go, I think we're almost done. Yeah, I think you could add some movement, I guess. Also, the underwings or something you could cover, but let's go ahead and get him ship-shape for movement. I think we're pretty close. Let's go ahead and press triangle on all these. Make sure you're scoped into the keyframe, of course. Also, be sure to, thing about the tail is be sure to reduce the detail before you cut. And we are going to be cutting. Yeah, maybe not that much. Kind of removes all the work we did. But we're going to go ahead and do some cuts real quick. Make sure this is on center. Then we're going to connect bolts. Oops. And now that we've connected the bolts, we're just going to take the stretch tool and blend the seams between tails by pushing them out just a little bit. That should create a nice illusion. Also, let's put on X-ray mode. You could use precise move for this, but I don't know. I think I'll do fine with just doing it this way. Make sure the bolt is at the joining point. That's the main thing. We want this one up here because that's where his tail's actually at. And you kind of want them to follow the pattern of a bone. Okay, I think we're good. Double tap. Turn up the springiness. Technically, it's going to be full 100% when I actually make it in-game. Also, make sure they're non-collidable. See, these days I make them 100% springiness, and there's some tricks that'll make it wag even if you turn down the springiness. But just for the sake of default, you know, we're in a hurry kind of thing. It's probably how we're going to do it. And we're going to turn his speed down to 3. Running speed, that is. Walk speed is going to be 0.8. Always a good substantial walk speed. Let's go ahead and preview what that looks like. His feet are too close together, so go to foot separation. Stompiness is good, I think. And a little bit of bicycle feet. Stiffness up. Arm vigor more relaxed. Sway's good. Limberness is also good. And sassiness, not so much. We're going to turn stridiness up, and we're also going to turn the time of his walk cycle up so that he's really, a lot slower. And of course his feet, we're not going to cover how to, make him have the big stompy sounds and everything. Well, maybe we will. Real quick, let's do it. Foot impact. Just go here, grab a shaker real quick. And we'll go to giant footstep, should be on here. I'm just going to clip this one in here so that we have 2. Play once. There you go, now all of a sudden he feels really heavy. And let's go ahead and take a look at the run cycle. That definitely looks funky. We are going to pose him a little bit. This may be altered in the final version of my game, of course, but this is just what we're generally going for. Foot separation. We're going to take down his stride just a little bit. Stiffness up. It seems like a good solid walk cycle. He does seem to be moving a bit too fast. Let's take it down to 2. Also, you can change these if you want him to relax to his normal pose a little bit more. And let's go ahead and add a little tail move. Waggle, that is. Just stamp all these. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. Oh, by the way. When you're using one of these, make sure it's set to keyframe mode. And just kind of move the tail just ever so slightly. You'll thank me later. There's like a weird thing where when you grab joints, it messes them up, and you know, just you gotta move it just a little bit. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and change these so that they're actually 100% springy. And I'll show you why. Move this scroll forward just a little bit. Now we're going to go in here, open it up with L1 and X, and we can see the timeline here. Now what's this? Don't know what that was. Gonna just take X, drag, and drop. And now we've got a little tail waggle. Probably don't want it to be that fast. Something more like this. And take down the amplification a little bit so it's a little less crazy. But if you turn springiness up, it'll naturally kind of like sway and wiggle a bit when you're walking, depending on your velocity, of course. Megalon's so slow, it's barely noticeable. I think I might turn his back down instead of put his head forward and his arms down. Go ahead and label this tail. And we're going to go ahead and do a little quick animation. Just move him over so slightly, remember that, and move all the limbs that you're going to be altering. Or could possibly alter, I should say. There we go. Then move it forward. Maybe move the pelvis down a little bit. We're going to call this breath. And of course it's not looping properly because we haven't looped it yet. What you want to do is just drag, copy L1 and R2, always the copy button. Set smoothing on, of course. Slow it down a bit. There you've got a nice little, you know, breathing animation. Or idle, you know, whatever you want to call it. It can kind of play even during his walk cycle and it doesn't affect it too much. Anyway, I think, you know, the wings kind of are the only thing remaining. I'm not sure if I want to cover those exactly in the need of expedience. It would take a while for the wings, and I'm not sure we have time for that. I feel like this series has drug on a long time, so... You know, I think I'll just call it here. Upper wing casing is good. Although I will experiment real quick. Let me see what this would be like. Yeah, that looks kind of nice. Doesn't even have much detail added to it, and it looks nice. But I think we have at last reached the end of our Megalon journey. Now, leave a comment if you're interested in seeing the process. I couldn't show the entire thing, but I could show a little bit of the process of how you adapt these creatures into playable, playable assets, because when I create them, I basically copy and paste the logic that I've released publicly on Dreams for everyone to use, but people may not know how to interface, that with this. What do I have to change? What do I have to do? That sort of thing. And I'll tell you what, if you have people comment, if they want to see that, if they want to see how Godzilla, GR logic is applied to these fellows, I'll demonstrate the basics. There's a lot of animation stuff that is kind of, in your ballpark, but if you just want to see the basics of how you transfer and get them set up, without the animations and all that, I could show you how to do that, and it probably would be helpful if you're trying to make your own stuff. So, yeah, you just tell me if that's something you want to see, otherwise I'll just go ahead and skip it. And Megalon is done. We may do more of these. Also, there may be some minor alterations between this and the final playable version in terms of appearance, but they're probably relatively small. That's pretty much it. It's Megalon. We're going to give a quick shout out to our monthly supporters on Coffee to keep us fed. They don't pay for Megalon, though. Megalon is his own fellow. He works for himself. We do not make money off this. Definitely not. It's for the tutorials. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss another video. If you wish to support our earnest insanity, you can check the links in the description to donate or buy merch. Until next time, goodbye.